What's going on, football fans? It's your host, Bad Takes, with Bad Takes in Football, back with another video for you. Gonna dive into the NFC and who my top 5 teams are currently. But before I do that, make sure you subscribe to this channel. I'm on my road to my first 100 subscribers. It really helps me out and it's free for you to do. We're building an awesome community here of football fans where we can banter back and forth and have fun. I'm also gonna be doing a giveaway to one of those subscribers. Also, make sure to like and comment on this video. Who do you think the best team in the NFC is this year? Let's hop into today's video. So when looking at the NFC, this might be the most competitive the NFC has been in several years. There are top teams in all divisions, and the NFC West is an absolute bloodbath. The NFC West has 4 teams at 4-2. We're talking about the San Francisco 49ers, the Seattle Seahawks, and the Los Angeles Rams, all at 4-2. In the NFC South, you actually have 3 teams at 500 or above. You have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with the best record in the NFL at 5-1. The Atlanta Falcons, who actually have a top 5 offense and defense, are 3-2. And then you have the Carolina Panthers that are 3-3 on a 3-game win streak. In the NFC North, you have the Green Bay Packers who are 3-1-1. You have the Detroit Lions who are 4-2. And then you have the Minnesota Vikings, who are 3-2. You also have the Chicago Bears at 3-2. And then the NFC East, the Eagles have the best record at 4-2. The Commanders follow them at 3-3. So again, this is a packed NFC conference. Most of the time, especially last year, if you looked at the teams like in the NFC South, there was not a single team with a winning record at this point in time in the season. Now, the Buccaneers got hot, and now we're seeing that same team being electric, and in my opinion, the best team in the NFL right now. That's right, I said it. The Buccaneers, in my opinion, are the best team in the NFL, not even just the NFC. They've beaten teams like the Atlanta Falcons, like the Seattle Seahawks, and the San Francisco 49ers. They also lost to the Philadelphia Eagles in a close game. They're on a 2-game losing streak. So when I was looking at the NFC, one of the biggest things that I wanted to take a look at, and I've already sort of mentioned it, was who has the top offenses and top defenses around the NFL right now. And one of the most shocking answers I saw was that the Atlanta Falcons are actually top 3 in both. The Atlanta Falcons are giving up 19.4 points a game, and they're scoring 20 points a game. When you look at that, you'd say, are they really a top offense if they're only putting up 20 points a game? From a yardage perspective, they're putting up 378.5 yards a game. And so again, you have to look at this and see the Atlanta Falcons aren't taking full advantage of the amount of yardage they're getting. What this tells me is that they are getting into scoring range and they're not taking advantage of it. So for me, I can't necessarily put the Atlanta Falcons in my top 5 list. When building this list, I'm looking at a full makeup of a team. And if you're only putting up 20 points a game, in this day and age in the NFL, that's just not enough. 7 of the top 10 scoring teams in the NFL are in the NFC right now. The Indianapolis Colts actually lead the NFL, followed by the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions are averaging 31.8 points per game, followed by the Cowboys, who are averaging 29.7 points a game. When I look at the makeup of these teams, when it comes to the top 5, I think as my 5th team, I actually might have the Seattle Seahawks as that top 5 team. Seattle's defense has a stout run defense, and they're very dangerous as well in the passing defense. And on the offensive side, Sam Darnold is looking like a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback. Kenneth Walker has been more than enough when it comes to the run game. And so again, at 4-2 in such a deep division, Seattle has to be a top 5 team in my opinion. At number 4, I gotta have the Philadelphia Eagles. I know they've lost 2 games in a row, but this team just knows how to win. They have a great culture. They have an awesome offense that is struggling right now. I think they'll figure it out. Generally, in the past, it's taken them deep into the season before they really get on a roll, but their defense is really stout. I love their defensive line with Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. That alone is what makes me think that they are a top 5 team in the NFC. At 3rd, I have to have the Detroit Lions. I talked about their offense already. They have 31.8 points a game on average. From a defensive perspective, though, they aren't as good. The Detroit Lions are really in the middle of the pack, and they're allowing 23.7 points a game. That's still a huge differential between the points they put up and the points they allow. But again, they do need to lower that if they want to be true Super Bowl contenders towards the end of this season. I'm also going to need to see a little bit more out of their pass rush. Their pass rush hasn't been what it's been in the past. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that their secondary isn't holding offensive receivers up as much as they used to. My number 2 team in the NFC right now is the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers, they have a stout defensive line that's really anchored by Micah Parsons in the pass rush. They have young linebackers and an athletic secondary. The Green Bay Packers give up 20.4 points per game. When you look at the offensive side, Jordan Love is looking like a great quarterback. He's really figuring out how to use these wide receivers, and Josh Jacobs really shows up whenever they need him to. Currently, the Green Bay Packers offense is averaging 26.2 points per game. They've had a couple off games, but I really do think that this team is going to get really hot towards the end of this season. At number 1 in the NFC, I have to give it to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What Baker Mayfield is doing out there is just MVP caliber level. If you were to vote for MVPs right now, without a doubt in my mind, it would be Baker Mayfield. He's had injury after injury after injury with these wide receivers, and still he's making production and he's turning these wide receivers into stars. Recently, Emeka Egbuka went down with a hamstring injury. This is also without having Evans out there, as well as Chris Godwin. And Tez Johnson turned into a Pro Bowl caliber wide receiver with Baker Mayfield throwing him the ball. I talked about it on Monday, but they had another wide receiver I hadn't even heard of. He was a second-year wide receiver out of Barton College who actually led this team in receiving last week. I'm talking about Cameron Johnson. Cameron Johnson had 4 catches for 64 yards in that game against the 49ers. He also added a touchdown to help them win that game. Again, it doesn't matter who is out there. Baker Mayfield is passing the ball to these weapons. Their defense is where they need to improve the most. Currently, they're giving up 25.2 points per game. Again, this Bucs team, they're winning all these games. A lot of times it's with winning drives at the end of the game. That might not always be sustainable, but there's something about this Bucs team I just absolutely love. Between the moxie of Baker Mayfield and just the overall team camaraderie, I can really see this team going deep into the playoffs and potentially even the Super Bowl. What do you think about the NFC? What do you think about my top 5 list? Again, I'll go through my list again. I have the Seattle Seahawks as the number 5 team in the NFC. I follow that up with the Philadelphia Eagles at number 4. At number 3, I have the Detroit Lions. At 2 goes the Green Bay Packers, and then at 1 is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So those are my top 5 teams in the NFC. What do you think of my list? Who else would you have in that list of top 5? That's it for me today. I appreciate your time. Thank you again for watching. This is Bad Takes with Bad Takes in Football, signing out.